Okay, let's talk about that. Two things. One, we have a question on who can make it the furthest in the tournament from the Big East. And that's our friend from Seton Hall. And then we got to talk about that Huggins-Morehead State matchup.
Okay, let's start. We'll start with the Big East question. So for me, I believe that it is UConn. And I know I'm totally opposite Coach Miles, but that's the point of the show. We went inside the mind of Miles with UConn and book night situation. But I will say this. If R.J. Cole comes on the concussion protocol, okay, knock on wood, UConn had won 5 straight games, entering an epic semifinal with Creighton on Friday night. They lose 59-56. UConn had a couple of looks to force overtime. But here's the thing with the Huskies. They defend and rebound about as well as anybody that they'll see early on in this tournament if they are to advance. I really like their draw. I really like UConn's draw against Maryland. I think it's a young Maryland team. I think it's a Maryland team that has flaws that, like UConn, offensively at times could be flawed. So I like that for the Huskies. And I think that UConn is that team that could make the run. I like them over Maryland in that first round because of the ability, again, to defend and rebound. Like, even when UConn didn't have book night, Coach, they went 4-4. They held their own in the Big East, and then they took off when book night came back. And the biggest X factor in my mind, not enough people know this name nationally, Adama Sanogo. He's a physically imposing presence. He made the All-Big East tournament team, 4-star recruit out of Jersey. This kid's playing like an absolute brick wall. I think that UConn will be able to get past Maryland, but then they're gonna have to face Alabama, and that's a really, really tough draw in the second round, whether it is UConn or Maryland to begin with. But I think it is the Huskies who have the biggest potential to get to the second weekend. Villanova's injured. Creighton's not exactly right. And Georgetown, they have an interesting draw being a 12 seed, but I don't know if everything can continue to go their way. Who knows? I could be dead wrong there.
So being the contrarian against UConn, I got to stay with it, all right, to keep my enemies where they belong and keep my friends closer. And I do think that Creighton can win a game. I'm not sure, again, where they're at, and we'll just see how that goes. But I can't see Georgetown making the Sweet 16. The team that's probably best positioned is UConn in the Big East. We're just talking about Big East teams, folks, in case you're joining us late here. But I can see Creighton and Georgetown both winning a game, and you've got UConn going the farthest. I can see that happening too.
All right, let's go in the Midwest region here. So you asked about Bob Huggins. He's going to meet Morehead State, 3-14 game. I got to be honest, I love the way that Huggy Bear sets up here as a 3 seed. If they're able to beat Morehead State, they get either San Diego State or Syracuse. Look, San Diego State's had a terrific season. They caught lightning in a bottle, Thomas, but they did catch it at Madison Square Garden. Like Coach Miles said, it's different when you go from that conference tournament. And if you win the conference tournament, that takes a lot. It takes a lot out of you, Coach, right? Yes. To then be able to reset and keep it going.
No doubt about it. Let's talk for a second about the selection committee and Syracuse not even being one of the last 4 in. I mean, like almost easily, like 6 teams behind them in. I haven't seen the S curve, but got a lot of respect. Syracuse got a lot of respect. San Diego State, they struggled a little bit with Matt Mitchell down, but now they're on a streak again, play tremendous defense. Not so sure. You're going to have to shoot it really well against that zone against Syracuse. Huggy, I think he can overwhelm Morehead State just with his pressure, press, and physicality. I've had a chance to watch them in person. And folks, a lot of us haven't had a chance to see anybody in person. Hopefully there'll be more opportunities as this thing winds down. But I had a chance to watch 3 games in person, and their physicality is so impressive. And I just don't know if Morehead can overcome that. So that will be an interesting area. I think the Clemson-Rutgers game will be a good game. And then 2 teams that play a little bit alike in Cleveland State and Houston. We heard, I think we heard Seth Davis even say that Houston has not, played well for a long time. They lost a player to transfer earlier in the year. And they just don't quite have all the juice that I think they thought we were going to have. Still played so well earning a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, this is the region that fascinates me the most. I think that Houston is another team that is extremely, extremely dangerous and just blew away Cincinnati in the American title game. Tim, because the American doesn't have as much depth of NCAA teams, Houston doesn't get a lot of national love, but they sure got it from the committee. I absolutely think they belong on that 2 line, and I think that their draw is very good. I like their ability to make the second weekend. I actually like it rather easily. I cannot see them losing to Clemson or Rutgers.
Well, then let's go back and talk about the top bracket, and let's talk about the Illinois Loyola Chicago matchup. Let's talk about Cade Cunningham and Tennessee matching up in those second round games, which I think will all go chalk.
You do? You think it'll all go chalk? I got to say, I really like Richie McKay and Liberty. I think it's going to be a game, but I think Oklahoma State's going to get by them. They're just more playmakers right now.
Yeah, and Mike Boynton is, I think, he's been around for a long time as an assistant. He's seen games. This is his first real crack at making a big run, I think. And I believe, what you'll see out of him is not overlooking Liberty at all, understanding exactly what a guy like Richie McKay can do, and that team Liberty's got. They're going to be tough. Oregon State, I mean, God bless them, but I just see Tennessee being so strong and so good defensively. Not sure that we're going to see anything but chalk. And then we've got, who didn't guess? My agent told me the other day. Tell you, somebody said, I can see why you don't have a coaching job because I went against UConn. It's my damn agent's fault. He can't get me a job. But he did call yesterday. He said, can't you see Illinois and Loyola being matched up in the second round? And I'm like, yep, I agree with that. And sure enough, he was right.
Crazy. I mean, I don't want to dismiss Alvarado and Georgia Tech because I love the way that Josh Pastner's got his team playing right now. They're defensively sound. Alvarado's a playmaker, but I got to say, Cameron Krutwig is still around in Loyola, and that Ramblers team, like, this is not just –
one of them's going to be up here, and the other one's going to be down here taking him out under the hips with a box out.
Exactly. I think that Oklahoma State, is not getting enough love from the committee here. Why were they a 4 seed? They have racked up as many great wins as anybody in college basketball. And I don't think, like, Liberty, I think that's a crappy draw for Liberty because I would have put them up to the 12 line. I think that, like we saw a couple years ago, they're good enough to win a game in the tournament. They're not going to. I like Oklahoma State in that, and I like Oklahoma State to go in the second weekend, Coach. Tennessee will beat Oregon State. I'm with you on that, but I don't like the Volunteers more than I like Oklahoma State's upside.
Yeah, I think that we're going to see Oklahoma State, Illinois playing each other in that Sweet 16. I think it's going to be a great run. I agree with you. I think Oklahoma State is got the goods. Tennessee has just struggled to score at times, and I really thought, as we moved, that we were going to see them maybe even win the SEC tournament. But you have to go with Alabama. Alabama didn't have their best, and Nate Oates still found a way, and that says a lot about them. But, boy, I tell you, the thing about Oklahoma State is when you've got a guy like Cade Cunningham, where at the end of the clock or at the end of the game, you can just say, here's the ball. And we've seen it with Kobe Bryant, LeBron, and Michael Jordan. Like, he is a different level person. Like, he can really go score with contact, score over you guys, make contested shots. He's a bona fide top couple pick in the NBA draft next year, and he's going to play in the NBA for a long time. Anytime you've got a guy like that, you can go a long way in this tournament.